Harrisville, just south of Alpena on US 23. About 10 miles east of Midland. I went to Northwood. I was in Midland for 5 years. The Bay City? To squeeze in nice and tight. Aloha John, Brian, Richard, Rhoda, and Kathy and Guy. First time on a helicopter for anybody? There you go, Richard. Probably sounds a little better. Right, folks, quicker recap. Everybody got a safety briefing on emergency procedures. A couple other quick pointers. I have a fire extinguisher located right next to my chair, right between myself and this door. There's a first aid kit located right underneath your seat there, okay? Right in the back. Yeah, underneath there. Little white emergency kit, just in case. To open these doors, this particular door here, you push down on this lever, the door will pop open. John, on your side, see that little red handle there? In emergency, you move that little red tab, pull that handle back, the door falls off its hinges. A little bit more challenging, Richard, next to your leg there, you look down by your calf, you'll see a little handle, little knob on it. Okay, you would grab that knob, pull back, the door slides backwards, okay? Sliding door. Anytime during our trip, if you start to feel a little ill, you know, feel a little upset stomach, please let me know. There's microphones located around the helicopter like this. There's one rotor right here by your knee. There's one should be Velcro to the back of my chair up here in front, John. Pick up the microphone, push this little black button, bring it up close to your lips, and you'll be able to ask me questions as we go along our way. The air conditioner's on right now. If it starts to be a little bit cool for you, you're sure welcome to reach up here and just turn the knobs and you'll be able to close down the volume. Helicopters are a lot of fun here. When I make my turns, helicopter leans back and forth. Peace, brother. And it turns very much like if you're on a boat or on a bicycle. Everything I say, you see on either one of these 5 cameras will be recorded on these VCRs that are located in the back of the helicopter. Right now we're waiting for our air traffic controller, which is located there off our left there. Cool, he just let us go. Aloha folks, welcome to Hawaii. As we start our journey around this beautiful island of ours, on the right hand side, Kihi Lagoon here, used for a lot of water sports activities. Kathy, Guy, you see these jet skiers over there. There's a water skiing area right by this berm. And these little homes you see here off the right hand side, these are actually little squatters. These squatters built themselves a nice little home here. You'll see some more there off the right, just to kind of live out here. Right below us there, a lot of these boats that you see, a lot of people live on their boats. The average temperature on the island, 76 degrees all year round, give or take 10 degrees. Out in front of us here, John and Brian, this large island that we're going to go over is called Sand Island. All the products that come in from around the world and the continent of the United States come into Sand Island here and get unloaded off these ships here off the left-hand side. Now, Richard, anything that needs to go to another island gets reloaded on those little barges, and they pull them over by tug. Off the left-hand side here, the green roof buildings that you see there, the Aloha Tower Marketplace. Real nice place to visit if you have an opportunity. They have a lot of nice little novelty shops there, a couple great restaurants, and they have some nice bars along the pier here, especially in the evening time. The four-masted schooner you see there, the Falls of Clyde, is next to that brown roof building, which is the Hawaiian Maritime Center, which is a nice museum. In the museum, they have a huge skeleton of a humpback whale. They also have a lot of the history of the Polynesian people's migration from the South Pacific and how they ended up here in Hawaii. In front of us here, this is known as Koala Basin. This is where a lot of your night dinner cruises come from. Also home port for the Voyager and the Nautilus submarines. You'll see the Voyager there off the right-hand side, the yellow submarine. On the left-hand side here, Rhoda, you see the beautiful beach here. It's called Ala Moana Beach Park. Ala Moana Shopping Center here off the left-hand side is the largest shopping center we have here in the state of Hawaii. As we enter Waikiki, just off the left-hand side here, we have the Alawai Yacht Harbor, where the opening scene of Gilligan from Gilligan's Island is where the Minnow departed on its 3-hour tour. We have the Hawaii Prince Hotel, the mirrored buildings there. The bluish building is the Ilikai and the Rainbow Tower of the Hilton Hawaiian Village. The Rainbow Tower is made of ceramic materials, the tallest ceramic mural in the world. And coming up here shortly here, Guy, I'll be making a turn in front of Waikiki. I'll make a big circle. Richard and Rhoda coming up on the left-hand side here, the cream-colored buildings, the tall ones, the Sheraton Waikiki, the Pink Palace of the Royal Hawaiian Hotel, and 4 buildings to the right where that yellow catamaran is headed, the Moana Surf Rider, the oldest hotel built in 1901. We have the twin octagon towers there of the Hyatt Regency. Now the helicopter is going to slow down here, the nose is going to start to come up, and we're going to lean on over to this side here, John and Richard. All you got to do is sit back and relax here. Out in front of us here, the beautiful Waikiki Beach. Now Waikiki in Hawaiian means spouting waters. Everything below you at one time were duck ponds, rice paddies, and taro patches. You'll see the canal on the backside of Waikiki there. It's known as the Alawai Canal. The Alawai Canal was built to drain off this water, allow them to build those condominiums and hotels. John and Brian, just off the left, you see the big silver dome halfway up towards the mountain. There's a football field next to it, a baseball field. All those large white buildings moving up the valley there belong to the University of Hawaii. The university is very popular in the area of law, oceanography, and Asian studies. Guy and Kathy coming up on the right-hand side here, one of the world's most recognized landmarks, Diamond Head Crater. The last time Diamond Head erupted was 150,000 years ago. At the very top of Diamond Head, you see those concrete structures. Those are observation posts for the military during World War II. You look inside the first ridge line, the second ridge line, you're going to see a white trail zigzagging down the center there. You'll see people walking along that trail. Now, from the parking lot in the center of Diamond Head, if you picked up that trail, zigzagged yourself up to the center there, Take you about a half an hour to walk to the top. The buildings that you'll see on the inside of Diamond Head belong to the Hawaii Army National Guard. All the way around Diamond Head are these underground tunnels. These tunnels are occupied by the civil defense, and Diamond Head becomes the headquarters for Hawaii in the event of a natural disaster. The peninsula just off the right-hand side there, Kathy, is called Black Point. Such famous people as Jack Lord from Hawaii Five-0, Tom Selleck from Magnum PI, Jim Neighbors, Carol Burnett, Doris Duke, Shirley Temple have all owned homes there. And in front of us here, John, you can see this golf course. This is known as the Waialae Country Club. The Waialae Country Club has been home for the Hawaiian Open Golf Tournament for over 30 years. Now it's called the Sony Invitational. Brian, off the right-hand side here, that large white hotel. That's called the Kahala Oriental Mandarin Hotel. Used to be known as the Kahala Hilton. And this is where the President of the United States has stayed when they've come to visit us, as well as foreign dignitaries from around the world. And it's one of 2 hotels in the chain of Hawaiian Islands that have dolphins in their lagoon, and the hotel guests can get on that waiting list and have an opportunity to swim with the dolphins. On the left-hand side here, you see this ridge line. This is known as the Hawaii Lower Ridge. Some of the most expensive homes on the island are built on this ridge line. One of them owned by Mr. Robin Leach, who has a TV program known as The Rich and Famous. Now you're going to see this white house here, rode down towards the bottom. It's 3 stories high, kind of a rounded front to it. It's currently on the market for $8 million. Is it Rhoda or Rhoda? Music or phone?
It's Rhoda.
Rhoda, okay, sorry about it. Looks like they wrote it. And in front of us here, you're going to see this watered area here. These little lakes. This is Hawaii Kai. Now the average home on the inside of these ponds here, these duplex condominiums, these are about $750,000. Richard, most of the homes on the left-hand side here along the ocean. On the front of us here, Brian. Off the right-hand side here, Guy, these are $2 to $3 million along the ocean shoreline here. On the left-hand side here, have you folks had an opportunity to come to Hanauma Bay yet? Go to off the left-hand side here, one of the most beautiful bays in the state of Hawaii, known as Hanauma Bay. What makes Hanauma Bay so beautiful is its reef formation here. It's been a fish preserve for over 30 years. You haven't been able to take any fish out of here. Now, Kathy, I'll be turning the helicopter here in a moment. Richard, if you have a chance to bring Rhoda down to the beach here, standing in knee-deep, waist-deep water, those thousands and thousands of fish swimming all around you. This is the #1 snorkeling spot here on the island. If you do have an opportunity to come here, bring one of those plastic underwater Instamatic cameras. You'll be able to take pictures of the beautiful colored fish as they swim on by. What's up, Brian?
They rent all the snorkeling stuff down there and do tours as well right there?
Yes, they do. They do rent all the equipment out there. It costs a couple dollars for the day for the snorkeling equipment. It's going to get a little bit bumpy here for a moment as we come up close to this extinct volcano. Brian and John out in front of us here at Cocoa Head Crater. The last time Cocoa Head erupted was 175,000 years ago. And right now the state just uses, in the city and county, the inside for growing trees. And they also have horseback riding trails and horseback riding stable to the far side. You'll see that here in a moment. It's also a popular hiking destination. You hike along the ridge line here, and hike all the way up to those bunkers there at the top. Now we're approaching the very east tip of the island here, in front of us, known as Makapu'u. The Hawaiian word for Makapu'u means bulging eye. As we cross over the ridgeline here, on the right-hand side, you're going to see the beautiful black cliffs, and there's a red roof lighthouse out here. This lighthouse is credited for saving many sailors' lives. This was the first tip of the island that the sailors would encounter on their way to Honolulu, which was a stopping-off point for traders when they left the continent of the United States on their way to Far East Asia. I'm going to lean the helicopter to the right-hand side here. Now this is also a popular hiking destination. You'll see the road here off the right. Well, you park their car along the highway here. You walk along that road all the way up to the ridge line here. It's popular for even the school kids come out here a lot, especially December through April. And when the whales come from Alaska, they come to Hawaii to give birth. And then the whales turn around and go back after April, go back to Alaska. As I turn back towards the main island there, you can see those round, red, circular buildings with those look like swimming pools there. That's called Sea Life Park, another excellent place to visit if you have an opportunity. You have the rare and endangered Hawaiian monk seal, a 350,000-gallon saltwater aquarium, and an excellent dolphin show.
What beach is that right there down to the left?
This is Makapu'u Beach, right off the left-hand side here. It's pretty popular for body surfing and boogie boarding. The waves are pretty challenging right there near the shore. The island off the right-hand side there. Oh, yeah. Got one here all of a sudden. Known as Rabbit Island. Rabbit Island was used in the ancient days there for literally raising of rabbits. Now coming up on the left-hand side here, the house that did the filming of the Magnum PI show, Richard and Rhoda. You see those two big white sailboats anchored offshore. Once you go to the beach, you hang a right, you walk until you hit that black rock wall that curves back out in the ocean here. There's a light gray roof house, L-shaped, little white chimney on the right-hand side. There's a long white gravel driveway in the yard there. That's the house that did the filming of the Magnum PI show. Now to the front of us there, this long white sandy beach known as Waimanalo, one of the longest stretches of uninterrupted sand beaches here on the island. Out in front of us here, Waimanalo is a farming community. Those three long white buildings you'll see up along the mountain there, they belong to Meadow Gold Dairies. They produce most of the milk that we consume here on the island. On the left-hand side here, you'll see those big black square screens. Those big screens are built to protect the flowers from being damaged by the rain. If you look through the roofs there, Kathy and Rhoda, you'll see the nice colored rows of flowers. Then those bright red patch of flowers there, those are called poinsettias. You're going to start to see them around the hotels and restaurants. They're a huge green, a leafy plant. The leaves turn that bright red. Some people confuse that with that red pakalolo that they grow here. On the right-hand side, the abandoned Air Force Base here, guys. Bellows Air Force Base. Last used in World War II, now turned over to the Army and the National Guard for training troops on the ground. On the left-hand side here, Mount Olamana, what's remaining of once a very large volcano, also referred to as our sleeping giant. The very top of this mountain is the nose of our giant. His forehead kind of falls off the right here, his chin and lip off the left-hand side. The swampy land guy off the right-hand side, Kathy, is called the Kainui Marsh, now home for rare and endangered species of wildlife birds that are native to Hawaii. You're going to see the homes off the left-hand side here. This is called the Honolulu Valley. It's where my family's been raised for 4 generations. When I was growing up here, none of these homes are here, though. This all used to be sugarcane fields. Coming up in front of us here, Brian and John, the freeway you'll see here off the left, is the Pali Highway. Goes through the mountain pass here, the Pali Lookout, where you're going to see some tour buses up there, people standing out. So the last battle took place to conquer the island. King Kamehameha came from the island of Hawaii, landed on the shores of Honolulu, met the warriors of Oahu. Ended up chasing them up this valley. They got trapped right here at these steep cliffs, ended up having to jump off these cliffs to avoid being captured, becoming a prisoner. If you take a half-island tour by bus or you rent a car, you can go on out to that lookout over there. The big hole in the ground here, Kathy and Guy, it's called our Kapa'a Quarry. It's where we get a lot of our rock. They take that rock and crush it, mix it with concrete for our roads and buildings. The freeway we're crossing over now, the 2-lane freeway off our right, starts on the other side of the bay there. All that property on the far side of the bay is the Kaneohe Marine Corps Air Station, one of the largest military bases that we have here. Now the freeway, as it starts off at the front of the gate, comes behind the helicopter, comes up here on the left-hand side. Richard makes that big left-hand turn. The H3 freeway has a distinction of being the most expensive freeway ever built in America per mile. It took over 30 years to construct that freeway at a cost of $1.5 million a mile.
What was that big white building with the circular drive around it back down below us in the valley?
The one over there on the right-hand side with those big circles?
Yeah, that's it.
That's a military graveyard. Veterans Cemetery. That large green island you'll see out in front of us there, John and Brian, that's called Coconut Island. Coconut Island was used as a backdrop in the TV program Gilligan's Island. Now, they didn't actually do the filming of Gilligan on that island. Gilligan was actually filmed in the studios of Hollywood, but they did use that island there for some of the opening scenes. Now, the beautiful bay you'll see off the right-hand side here, it's called Kaneohe Bay. What makes Kaneohe so beautiful is the reef formations here. And this is sand. It took over tens of thousands of years for sand to deposit itself atop the coral heads here to give it this beautiful look. Now the bright white area there in the center, it's called the Kaneohe Sand Bar. At low tide, the water's less than an inch deep there. You see some visitors out there enjoying their afternoon. During the weekends, Saturdays and Sundays, you see a lot of local people take their boats out there and their families, and the kids can get out and they can walk along on that large area there. Now the island of Oahu is used quite a bit for filming of motion pictures and television series. The most popular being the Hawaii Five-0 and the Magnum PI show. Coming up on the left-hand side here, Richard and Rhoda, you're going to see this large circular pond here. That large pond is where they used in the filming of Karate Kid 2. They had constructed that Japanese village there along the edge of that pond there. Brian and John. Directly ahead of us there, you can see that long pier sticking out in the water. There's a little white hut on the end of that pier. That's the pier where Mr. Rourke and Tattoo would stand and that amphibious airplane would land here in the bay and motor on up to that little dock there in Fantasy Island. Now, Kathy and guys, I lean the helicopter off to the right. You see that catamaran docked up there at that little reef there. All those little white dots all the way around it, those are snorkelers. On the far right there, Kathy, you see that little triangular island. That's known as Chinaman's Hat. When you come ashore, all that light green area there is called Kualoa Ranch. This is where you could do a host of Western type activities. One of the coolest things is the horseback riding trip that takes you out to the front of those steep cliffs and brings you up into this big valley that I'll tell you about here in a moment. You're going to see this beautiful sand beach here off the right-hand side next to that white catamaran. That's called Secret Island. You get the secret island by coming across that lagoon there by a little white boat on the far side. Just to the left of that white boat, you see that big white house, kind of a rounded front pillars. That was Mr. Rourke's house when they filmed Fantasy Island here. I'm going to slow the helicopter down, turn it to the right, and back to the left. Out in front of us there, to where Jurassic Park was filmed. The dinosaurs running down this valley here. Other motion pictures filmed in this valley: Godzilla, Tarzan, George of the Jungle. Most of the Mighty Joe Young movie was filmed there. Godzilla, Tarzan, George of the Jungle, most of the Mighty Joe Young movie. And Wind Talkers. They just completed a motion picture called Wind Talkers. It's about the Navajo Indian that the American military recruited during World War II to be radio communicators. The Japanese and the Germans were not able to break that language barrier. Out in front of us here, we just jumped into a valley known as Kahana Valley. What makes this valley interesting, off the left-hand side, this happens to be the wettest part on the island. Oh, by the way, the helicopter's shaking around due to some of the wind turbulence there. This valley was also chosen by the last ruling kings for their relaxation and recreational area. It has a freshwater spring right here at the bottom. It snakes its way out and floods those light green fields there. Off the right-hand side is where the kings used to grow their taro. The taro is the main staple food of the Hawaiian people. It's what they made that substance known as poi. The beautiful bay you'll see out on the right-hand side there. Well, right now it's kind of muddy because of the rain runoff. There's that rock wall built out in right angles there, a guy on the far right-hand side. Okay, that was a fish pond, or is a fish pond. When the Hawaiians would go fishing, they'd take some of their fish and throw them back into those ponds. And at the mealtime, they'd be able to walk into those ponds there and throw nets and retrieve fresh fish every day. Richard and John, off the left-hand side, you see these dark scratches in the mountains here. When we come back here after a large, heavy rain, here's these beautiful waterfalls in them. You see a trickling of one coming up here, road just off the left-hand side. Now the next valley that I'm going to take you into is called Kaliawaa. This is where you're going to see a tall waterfall known as Sacred Falls. Sacred Falls is a series of waterfalls, which the tallest one is over 1,300 feet. So as we go into the valley here, I'll set the helicopter up, John and Richard to the left-hand side first, and I'll turn it around, guide to the right. I'll do that 2 times. And in here, I expect the helicopter to rock around just a little bit due to the wind that hits these valleys and becomes a little turbulent. Now you can start to see the top of one of the waterfalls. That's a short one. It zigs to the right, zags back to the left there. The tall waterfalls hitting off this ridge line here, just off the left-hand side. Now you can start to see the top of the tall waterfall.
Is there any kind of a trail going up into there?
Yes and no. Yes, there's trail. No, you can't take it. What happened 2 years ago, Mother's Day, there was a group of about 40 people came out to this waterfall here, and there was a landslide. 7 of them ended up being crushed by rocks. So they ended up closing this trail here. There's a big fence. Trespassers will be violated. 10 years in prison. But to answer your question, yeah, there was a trail up there. And one more time back to the right. Now you just saw something most people all their life have never seen. The only way to see that waterfall is by helicopter or by airplane.
I said, or by postcard.
Or by postcard. Okay. Or by video. Or by still picture. I never thought about those. Thank you. I got her to smile. Have you heard about the Polynesian Cultural Center? It's coming up here in front of us, an area known as Laie. Have you been there? Okay. Yeah. Did you like it? The Cultural Center was started by the Mormon Church. The Mormons came here, brought a college called BYU University, a branch of Salt Lake City, Utah. That's a college out there in front of us. And they sent their missionaries down to Tonga, Fiji, Samoa, New Zealand, Tahiti, and Hawaii to recruit students to go to the college. There wasn't any work out here for them to do, so they started the Cultural Center. They built these villages, replica of their native countries, and you'll see the buses there off the right-hand side there, Brian. They take you on a nice guided tour from village to village to village and explain the differences of the Polynesian people's way of life and their arts and crafts. And they have one of the best hula shows and luau's here in the state, right here at the Cultural Center. on the left-hand side here, as I lead the helicopter to the left there, Rhoda, Richard, you're going to see this large white building with a blue fountain in the front of it. This is the Mormon Temple. Now, coming up in front of us here, you see this mountainous area all the way up to the top there, John. This military training area called Kahuku. Just off the right-hand side here, Guy and Kathy, you see these water, rectangular fields. These are aqua farmers, and they're raising shrimp out here for the local restaurant markets. You also have little patches of papaya trees. They have banana trees, which are right off here on the right. And then closer to the ponds over there, you have these fields of corn. Coming up in front of us here, you'll see these white windmills. This was a project that was started by General Electric and the local electric company. They built these windmills to try to harvest some of the wind energy to generate electricity. But because the winds gust here quite a bit, they also changed directions very quickly. They literally broke the propellers right off the top of these windmills. As we go on by, you see a lot of them all broken, falling to the ground. It became too expensive to maintain this windmill farm, so they ended up abandoning this project. Kathy and Guy, just off the right-hand side, this is the very northern tip of the island. Those two golf courses you'll see out on the right-hand side here belong to that three-sided hotel out there, the Turtle Bay Hilton. The Turtle Bay is one of the farthest hotels you can get away from downtown Honolulu. Real nice, quiet area. They have beautiful beaches on either side of that hotel that go for several miles. You can walk for a long, long ways.
How long ago did they build these windmills?
Probably 20 years.
And these things have just fallen apart and they've never really picked them up since then?
Nope. They're fighting with the state about who's going to clean it up. That's why none of it's been done. They say, well, it's on military land. Well, you're the one to put it up. Yeah, well, we went broke. So, you know, the company that they formed to put that thing together is broke. So, thanks to the U.S. taxpayers, we'll end up having to pay to get it out of there. Out in front of us, the surf is up, gang. You see these nice sets, one after another, those nice rows of waves. You can see a lot of surfers here off the right, and I'll be turning it off to the left here in a moment. Guy and Kathy, you see all those little dots in the water right off our right here. Those are all surfers waiting to take their turn to get on a nice wave. You got some windsurfers out here in front of us. If you're back home channel surfing, you come across a surfing contest here. Quite often it's out here on the north shore of Oahu. This beautiful sand beach here off the left-hand side. It's called Sunset. So where the waves can reach over 20 feet high here, where all those lines of cars are.
Don't they have a major contest in November?
They have, yeah, they just had one just last week. They have several of them actually throughout the year. I mean, November, December, January, February time frames. That's when the waves are the largest in this area. And you'll see some more surfers there, all those dots along the wall. When the waves get pretty high, a lot of these homes actually get flooded. The waves go right up in the backyard. Our winter, well, we call our winter months, runs right around now through about April. And this side of the island expects most of the higher waves. The second most popular snorkeling and scuba diving spot, right off the left-hand side. This little cove here, there's like 3 or 4 cars parked right in the front of it. That's called Shark's Cove. Not on a day like this, but another day when the waves are nice and calm. They have these nice crevices and these lava shells where the whitewash is going up on. You can kind of snorkel underneath them. Guy and Kathy coming up on the right-hand side here. You're going to see World famous Waimea Bay. This is where the surf can reach over 40 feet high here. When the waves get over 40 feet high, they'll completely cover up that beach there. Right below us here, Waimea Falls Park. Waimea Falls Park, just off the left-hand side. Nice place to visit. They take you up in the park. They explain a lot of Hawaiian culture and arts and crafts. And you can see the Waimea Falls here off the left-hand side, where they hold cliff diving demonstrations on a regular basis. Right below us here, all these light green fields you see. These are the abandoned sugarcane fields of central Oahu. The last sugar harvest took place in 1996. Now the reason they don't grow sugar here anymore is the price of land is too expensive, the price of labor is too high, and America buys a lot of its sugar from Puerto Rico and the South American countries.
What do you think will happen to all this land? Are they ever going to do anything with it?
Yeah, that's a good question. And the answer to that question is yes, they are. Right now, all this property, the reason you don't see any homes in this property is because it's all zoned agriculture. Castle and Cook is the major corporation that owns this property. They used to be the primary sugar industry here, or sugar company. Now they decided they make a lot more money in the real estate business. So what they're trying to do is they get the state to allow them to rezone more of this from agriculture into residential. As soon as they're able to do that, they'll sell it to developers. We'll sell off portions of that property, build homes. So I suspect probably around 10 years from now, 10 to 15 years from now, if you came back to this same trip, all below us here, these are all be homes, and I'll show you samples of that development a little further up the island. Right now, they've allowed these little farmers here, they can get land fairly cheap, little sections. They can grow some of their vegetables, flowers. And they've allowed this rancher here. Out in front of us, you'll see cattle grazing off the left here. Sections off portions of this property here just for grazing. Out in front of us here. The freeway, the main freeway that cuts the island right down the center here. If you take a Circle Island tour by bus or you rent a car and drive around, you'll find yourself going through these pineapple fields here. These dark rectangular fields here are pineapples. Just off the left-hand side, they've already picked this field here, and then they'll till it under. Now they're replanting. Off the right-hand side there, Kathy, Guy, you see the big U-shape cut in the mountain there. That's called the Koli Pass. This was the first wave of Japanese aircraft. Came through that mountain pass. Hit the buildings on the far right-hand side here, which is called Schofield Barracks, one of the largest Army bases here. Then went southbound. The general direction we're headed right now, right into Pearl Harbor. On the left-hand side here, I'll be making a turn guide to the right. Richard and Rhoda, you're going to see the largest agricultural maze in the world here at the Dole Visitor Center. You'll probably see people walking on the inside of this maze here. This was entered in the Guinness Book of World Records by the Dole Corporation. Kathy and Rhoda, coming up in front of us here, you're going to see these tall trees in the middle of this big field here. These are eucalyptus trees. At the bottom of these trees are the ancient Hawaiian birthing stones.
On this island I found a way to see the beauty.
What did you say is under there?
I'm sorry, I was talking to the tower. Underneath these trees here, the ancient Hawaiian birthing stones. When the Hawaiian queens are going to give birth, this is the area they came to. This is now a sacred area. The water that we're coming over right now is known as Lake Wilson. This is where the center part of the island gets a lot of its water. The water from this reservoir soaks down, gets naturally filtered by the volcanic rock, and it collects in these underground lava tubes. They drilled into those tubes and pump the water back out to all the homes here in Hawaii. The water here is very, very fresh. We don't put any chlorine or fluoride in the water. It's pumped right out of the ground, right to these homes. Brian and John, off the right-hand side here, the military air base. You'll see here's Wheeler Air Force Base, last actively used in World War II, now turned over to the Army and the National Guard for their helicopter operations.
Bring these moments to my mind. For you could be born on an island, one of a kind, one of a kind.
Out in front of us here, all these homes you see, this all used to be sugarcane fields. They rezoned this from agriculture and residential, and this is the result. This is what will probably keep on developing past us. Downtown Honolulu, you can see how the development has been slowly creeping away from downtown. The average home below us here will run you anywhere from $300,000 to $500,000. The island of Oahu is made up of two distinctive volcano ranges. Richard, off the left-hand side here, they call that the Ko'olau Mountain Range. Guy off the right there, that's the Waianae Mountain Range. As you can envision, these two volcano ranges, they started at the bottom of the ocean. They continued to erupt until they ended up flowing together, joining here in the center of the island to form this flat section, which we call Wahiawa, or Central Oahu. Way off on the right-hand side there, you're going to see the those big smokestacks kind of sticking up. That's our refinery out there. The island and the state of Hawaii is primarily dependent on oil for its energy. About 90% of the electricity developed here is all from oil. Usually there's these big oil tankers offshore. They hook up the big oil underwater pipes. They pump that bunker crude to the refineries there, which they refine it, they pump it off to our big electric power plants, which is on the other side of this ridge line here. Now, they also refine all our gasoline for the state of Hawaii. It's refined out there. Any of the gasoline that needs to go to another island, it gets put on these little barges and pulled over by tugs.
Loving under a waterfall.
Now in front of us here, Pearl Harbor. Have you had a chance to go to the Arizona Memorial? Pearl Harbor is a natural-made harbor made up of these three distinctive waterways. Off the far right there, the West Lock. All these ships off the right-hand side, these are all decommissioned. And all these ships are decommissioned, out of action. It's kind of the Navy's graveyard here. In front of us here, the large island, Ford Island, where most of the activity took place in the bombing of Pearl Harbor.
What? What?
From the air, are you able to get a good view of the Arizona through the water?
Yep. Now I'm going to set you up to do that here shortly.
I met a lovely girl, oh yes, I'm a
They also use this island here for a major motion picture called Pearl Harbor, which is coming out next year. Now, the first ship that got hit and sunk in the bombing of Pearl Harbor is called the USS Utah. You'll see it wrote in Richard right off the left-hand side there, Brian. At the end of that long black pier, you'll see the white pier with the American flag flying on it. Just on this side of the pier, you'll see the Utah laying on its side.
I said, don't you stop, just keep
You'll see the oil slick leaking from the Utah. You'll see that same oil slick coming from the Arizona.
And she said, I will dance for you. Get up, get up, get up and dance
Let
with
me
me.
go on to the other side first. I'll be turning around Guy in a moment. Coming up on the left-hand side here, the USS Missouri, the Mighty Mo, lost by accident, Desert Storm in Saddam Hussein. Also the featured ship in the movie Under Siege, starring Steven Seagal. Signing of the ending of World War II took place on the back of the Missouri here. And to the front of the Missouri, the USS Arizona. You see the visitors getting off, getting back onto that boat there.
From the jewelry bar. And then she swung around, extending her hand,
You
asking
can see
me
the outline of the whole ship there, John.
I tried to shy away, oh yes I tried, but it has never done me no good. And she dragged me in the sand. I will dance for you. Get up, get up, get up and dance with me.
To the front of us here, a long bridge. At the end of the bridge, the big stadium, the Aloha Stadium, where the NFL football team played a Pro Bowl. To the right of the bridge, the big bowfin there, that submarine which they give tours on, credited for sinking many Japanese ships during World War II.
Well, she was the cutest little thing I've ever seen. Look about 3 feet wide. All her baby was so papa. She had one big smile. Well, everything was turning out alright before the sunlight came out there. It was the time to kiss her and say goodbye forever. But I never will forget.
Off the left-hand side there, you can see some submarines tied up along the docks. Pearl Harbor is a Navy submarine repair facility here in the South Pacific.
I will dance for you. Get up, get up, get up and dance with me.
The big pink building up along the mountain there, Richard, that's a Tripler Army Medical Center.
Get up and dance with me.
One of the largest Army hospitals in the U.S., very vital to America during World War II, the Korean and the Vietnam conflict. Guy off the right, the military aircraft there in Kathy, Hickam Air Force Base. They share the same runways as Honolulu International here. Honolulu is the 25th busiest airport in the U.S. There's approximately 14,000 registered airports. What makes our airport so busy is the local traffic. Hawaiian and Aloha Airlines, they leave every 40 minutes to go to another island. Aloha just landed here, the white aircraft with a dark blue tail.
Can you see the palace from here, the old palace?
Which palace?
Well, the one that if you go on a tour of the city.
Oh, the Ihilani Palace? No, that's straight ahead. See the big yellow building, Dole? With a big
Yeah.
Punch Bowl Cemetery right there. It's just off to the side of Punch Bowl. That's a nice tour, by the way. I'm going to hold this here for a moment for some type of traffic. Off the right-hand side here, Up along the ocean, you can see that long runway. It's called a reef runway. That runway was built to support the United States Space Shuttle in that they needed an alternate landing area.
I'm for Lahaina town. At the end of the day, she returns to Molokai.
So you got 2 Aloha Airlines coming in here. You got 1 on the runway. You got 2 more getting ready to take off. You got the military aircraft there behind them.
Comes home to her castle. Never complain about the day. After working hard, she works at home. She's my Molokai woman.
Those military aircraft share the same runways, huh?
Yep, they just get right in line. Boy, Alex, this is the 25th busiest airport as far as number of traffic. Sometimes we get stuck here for 10 minutes, hovering here, waiting to, especially if you have a new controller.
Every weekend night is a party night, invited everyone all around. From Kaunakakai to Halava side, everybody from every side. I wanna tell everybody about this pretty lady.
We take this opportunity here, John and Brian, and Richard, and Rhoda, Kathy, Guy. I want to thank you very much for coming to Hawaii and vacationing here. We do appreciate that. We do hope you have an opportunity to return one day and maybe take in another island, the island of Hawaii. So that's an active volcano. The island of Kauai, considered the waterfall capital of the world. It rains over 40 feet a year.
I'll hold you in my arms, let you know. Oh, this love of ours is bounded forever and ever.
Wow, can you do that again?
Oh, my woman, I love you so.
Any barrel rolls or flips for us real quick?
On the holy day, you'll see her by the shore, playing with the children.
Beep, beep.
I thank the Lord, yes, I
Airplanes.
thank the Lord once more. She's my Molokai.
I'd like to take this opportunity again. Thank you very much for flying with Makani Kai Helicopters. We do appreciate that. If you'd like to take a picture next to me and next to the aircraft
Every day.
when we land, add your camera to Fred there. It'll be after everybody exits the aircraft, and then go ahead and take your picture for you.
Don't you let this love fade away. She's my Molokai woman. Oh, my Molokai. She's my Molokai woman. She's my Molokai woman. She's my Molokai woman. She's my Molokai woman. She's my Molokai woman.
We had to wait for those blades to stop because when the downwash, sometimes will make those blades bend so far they hit the back of his tailbone. And guess who has to pay for it? And they're only 20,000 a blade, so not too bad.
It's the starting of a new day. I love to see the morning sunshine right down on your lovely face.
John, thank you very much. Aloha.
I love to look
Brian?
at your smiling
Richard?
face, child,
Rhoda, thank you very much. Kathy.
all day.
Hey, Guy, aloha.
You know, I wake up and say, good morning, how you feeling? I'm singing good morning, how you feeling?
All right.
You set my heart on fire. I like to sing it out loud. higher and higher, 'cause you're my one desire. If it's love that I'm always